Doing that, welcome everybody to the story of home, rededicating our communal home, which is a JFest resource call for JCC professionals, you, to engage with your communities on a local level, maximizing the JFest experience. I'm Randy Luderman. I'm the lead arts and culture professional at JCC Association of North America. And joining me today from JCCA is Isabel Marish, my JFest partner in crime and all things art and culture, and our colleagues Sarah, Kathy, Mykenzie, and Jacob from the Sheva Center. We're hoping that by now you've not only heard of JFest, but hopefully with your communities either joined a JFest event on Virtual J or participated in a story of home resource call built especially for you to support and deepen your work with your local communities. I see some familiar faces, so I'm so glad we've got you back and so welcoming. If it's your first time with us, we're so thrilled you're here. Through JFest, our arts festival for the JCC movement, we've been offering cultural and educational content for all ages through the Virtual J platform. And we've been sharing marketing materials and resources, again, to deepen connections and help build resilience in JCC communities throughout the movement. Isabel will share some links in the chat as we continue today to make sure you have what you need to take advantage of all the richness still to come through November and December. We couldn't do this work without our remarkable champions. JFest programs are made possible through funds granted by the Covenant Foundation with additional support from the Pertzik Fund for Arts and Culture, and we are so grateful to them. JFest is predicated on the belief that our individual and family stories help us build resilience and create resilient communities, and that art helps us to engage and tell these stories. So throughout the year, JFest programs will continue to explore three core themes of storytelling: how you tell your story, how others tell our story, and how history tells our story. So one of the most satisfying parts of working on JFest with Isabel is that we collaborate in partnership with amazing artist educators from around the world. And sometimes we're even lucky enough to collaborate with people closer to home in our office. So they help us tell our stories. They help keep us connected, even when we're apart. Critical, again, for community resilience building. So I'm so thrilled to introduce our wonderful colleague from the Sheva Center, Sarah Koffler. Take it away.
Thank you so much, Randy. And thank you to you and Isabel for that beautiful kickoff to this important session. My name is Sarah Koffler, and I am the Early Childhood Education Specialist here at JCC Association. My pronouns are she, her, and hers. I'm wearing a navy blue top and have brown wavy hair. And I'm joining you from my home in Scotch Plains, New Jersey, the traditional land of the Lenni Lenape tribe. It has been a true joy for us at the Sheva Center to partner with our arts and culture colleagues for this JFest initiative, Story of Home. As a JCC professional, the idea of JCC as our communal home is one that has always resonated for me. As a classroom educator and then school director, the JCC communities I've been a part of have always been my professional home. In my current role at JCC Association, I see the impact that our JCC communities have in creating a sense of home for educators and families. And in my most important role, mom, I see the way my 2- and 5-year-olds view their JCC, our JCC, as their true home away from home. They're so comfortable in their environment with their teachers and their friends. My son even has little identical elephant loveys, one for home and one for school, because each place is so central to his life. The idea of JCC as our home away from home couldn't be truer for me in so many contexts, and I imagine it's true for many of you too, our incredible educators and professionals. At the Sheva Center, we're guided by foundational Jewish values through which we view and see the world. We often refer to these concepts as lenses. The lenses give us not only an ethical model of living, but also a shared language and perspective for enhancing our communities, piquing our curiosity, enhancing our relationships, and improving our world. As I think about the idea of home and rededicating our home through the mezuzah, many of these lenses come to mind, but I'm particularly struck by the lens of drash, meaning interpretation, inquiry, dialogue, storytelling. This lens teaches us that the Jewish understanding goes beyond inquiry to interpretation, interaction, and transmission. It engages the knowledge and experience of the past in conversation with the present and documents the new learning for the benefit of future generations. The mezuzah is a Jewish artifact containing our holiest prayer, the Shema, text that has guided the Jewish people for thousands of years. And as these words get passed down from generation to generation, we take what we've learned from those who came before us and share with those in future generations, those who will do just the same in their time. This is true not only of the mezuzah, but in all that we do. In the field of early childhood education right now, the tides are changing in the best ways possible, seemingly faster than we can keep up. Yet, telling and retelling our stories allows us to be innovative, present, and intentional. And there is no better partner to help us be innovative, present, and intentional in our practice than our colleague and friend, Mykenzie Busser. Mykenzie is the Assistant Director at the Family JCC Leslie Family Preschool in Palo Alto, California. She recently completed her fellowship as part of the Sheva Center Leadership Institute, and she is one of the most thoughtful and inspirational educators I know. Today, Mykenzie is going to guide us through an opportunity bringing the lenses, the mezuzah, and the story of home to life through an interactive loose parts experience. Mykenzie, it is my honor and pleasure to turn it over to you.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here. I'm going to share my screen. Let me see if I can do this. It doesn't always work. Oh, it doesn't seem to want to. There we go. Okay. So there we go. All right. Hopefully everybody can see that. Okay, so I am very, very excited to be a part of the JFest Arts Festival. I was just honored when everyone asked me to do this, and I'm just so excited to be here. So let's get started. Okay, so we're talking about rededicating the communal home, and making meaningful connections to the lenses of the mezuzah and loose parts. We'll be exploring what a communal home means to us as we re-enter, re-engage, and rededicate ourselves after 18 plus months to our communal homes. And we'll be using the mezuzah and loose parts and Jewish values to guide this experience. Okay, so I wanted to tell you a little bit about me and what my story is. So I have been at the OFJCC Leslie Family Preschool for over 25 years as either an educator or an administrator. I have two wonderful boys. One is 20 and one is 16. They're both alumni of the preschool. I have my wonderful husband, Mike, who has been a part of my life since high school. And we have one dog. His name is Samson Delilah, and he is kind of the king of the castle at the moment. I'm also a fellow of the Sheva Center, which has been such a meaningful part of my story and has helped me grow both personally and professionally. The other part is I'm a loose parts lover. Anything having to do with loose parts, I love it and I want to do more with it. And I'm a lifelong learner. This is a picture of me when I was a little girl in the puddles. That was me then, and it's still me now. And then I wanted to talk a little bit about my life transitions and growth through the years, because the JCC, my communal home, has been there for all of it. The JCC has been there for my engagement to my husband, my marriage, my graduation from college, my pregnancies, the birth of my children, the education of my children, my education, the death of my father, really just everything having to do with me growing personally and professionally, and most recently, my conversion to Judaism. And the JCC has been there to support me with love and guidance, and really has been a strong part of who I am today. And I feel like without the JCC, I would not be the person that I am today. So truly, the JCC is part of my story and me. Okay, so I always like to start with a quote, and this time I have two. So, and you shall write them on the doorpost of your house and upon thy gates. And the second one is home is where your story begins. I would love to hear what you think about these quotes when you hear them. You could just throw it into the chat. I won't be able to read them, but someone will tell me what you are saying. So what does that bring to mind as you think about, and you shall write them on the doorpost of your house and upon thy gates, and home is where your story begins. Take a few moments and just throw that into the chat, or you can say it out loud.
Read out for you, Mykenzie, some of what's coming in through the chat box. Home is not just shelter, but where you can express yourself.
Oh, I love that. I love that. Anything else?
I'm seeing pride in your home, who you are, and honoring those who have done so before you and will continue to do so after you.
It's beautiful.
Home is your foundation, a safe space and sacred space. It makes me think about the invitation and obligation to stand in who I am and share that with others. Legacy. And to open your home to others is opening your story to others. Home is a living organism, a soul in my life.
Wow. Wow. That's very, very deep. I love that. Okay. So as we continue on with this exploration, I want you to take a few moments and think about what these questions mean to you. You may even want to jot down a few words. So we're looking at this through the lens of Drosh, interpretation, inquiry, dialogue, and transmission. What is your story and how is it connected to the home, your home, the community home, and the sanctity of the mezuzah? How has your story shaped your re-entry into your community home? Meaning, how is your story from very beginning up through the pandemic to now shaped how you are re-entering into your communal home? What does your home mean to you? That could be your personal home, that could be your communal home. Excuse me. And what places represent home? So we have our homes, our personal homes. We also have our communal homes, but there's other pieces that can mean home to you. In addition to the mezuzot, what other items might adorn your home and why? How does your JCC act as a communal home or a home away from home? For me, it's a gathering place. It's a special place where my family or I or all of us together can come together and meet with others. How do families, members of the community, employees, feel a connection between their home and your JCC? So I believe for me and for our JCC, my JCC, it's an extension, and it's an extension of the home. So think about what those mean to you as we continue through this journey. Okay, so we're going to talk about the mezuzah, the home, and the communal home. And remember, as you're doing this, that each of us is unique by ourselves, our family is unique, our home is unique, our community is unique. We each have a unique story that has carried us through the last year. We each have unique relationships with our communal homes. We each have a different experience as we re-enter and rededicate our communal homes and create an understanding that's unique unto ourselves. And all of it is sacred. It's all sacred because it's our unique story. It's our unique experience. Okay, so when you think of the mezuzah and you think of all the different types that there are out there, they're all unique and they could be made out of so many different things. They could be made out of acrylic, metals, glasses, stone, ceramic, wood. They could be made out of, I don't know, so many different things. And you think about how each one of those is unique. Think about how they're each equally beautiful in their own unique way, just like your home, your story, your communal home. I want you to close your eyes and I want you to think about those things. Think about your homes, your JCCs, your stories. What materials, what textures, what can you feel when you think about those things? What comes to mind? What stands out? Sometimes even the smells. What smell is there that stands out to you and makes you think of those things and makes you want to come home? If that makes sense, makes you want to come back to your communal home and be there and make those connections. If you can, you could just throw some words out. You don't need to put it in the chat. You can just say it out loud. Or you can put it in the chat. Or if you don't want to say anything at all, you don't have to say anything at all. It's totally fine. Okay. So those are the materials, thinking about those. There's also shape and color. Each mezuzah has its own shape, its own color, its own story. Just like each of our own communal homes, our own homes and our own stories has their own shape, their own color, their own feelings, right? Close your eyes, think about those colors that pop out at you, think about those shapes. And again, remember that it's unique unto yourself, unique into your own story, unique into your own community and your own home. And think about that. Just think about those beautiful, for me, I look and I think about my JCC and I think about, we have beautiful warm colors. They all represent the 7 species. And there's different shapes all around and different textures that I can feel. And there's always like a smell coming from the cafe. And this is what I think about, because we also have the, excuse me, a mezuzah almost everywhere you go. You can see them around the JCC and they're just welcoming you. And then size and weight. Now, this is not something you can't weigh your home, but you can weigh the feeling of what going to your JCC or going to your home can mean to you. So there's that feeling, that intenseness, that you can feel, that feeling of comfort, that feeling of just love and the experiences that you have. And when I think about the mezuzah, I think about that comfort piece. Whenever I walk into my JCC or I walk into my home or I walk into a place that I know brings me comfort and I see that mezuzah, that is what makes it special for me. I even have a mezuzah in my car and I've given both of my boys the mezuzah to put in their car to help them, just because I feel like it gives that comfort. Okay. The other thing is that inside every mezuzah is the scroll, the Shema, right? And it has that blessing that really is there to give you that feeling of support and comfort, knowing that you're being watched and protected. But it's also sacred, just like what's in your home and what's in your JCC is sacred to you and to your community and to you and your families, right? And then you have the Shin. So the Shin it's Hebrew for Shaddai, Almighty. But it's something that adorns the mezuzah. And you have those special things in your home, in your communal homes, that adorn them, that make those places special to you and to the community. I want you to take a moment. I want you to think about, when your home or your communal home, what stands out as being sacred to you? Can you throw some of those words into the chat? What stands out as being sacred?
Seeing my garden, community connections, my bed, a place of rest and renewal, making memories,
Mhm. Beautiful.
the inhabitants, timeless, encapsulated in an impermanent object.
Hmm. Wonderful. It's gonna make me cry. It's so personal, but yet just so beautiful.
Mhm.
Go ahead. Was there another one?
There's one more. My windows and feeling all cozy inside, being able to
Wonderful.
rest.
Wonderful.
Oh, one more. Seeing
Okay.
physical touch others made on the space.
Oh, wow. So these all represent Breet, a covenant, a sense of belonging, sense of commitment, sense of comfort and safety and pride and connection and support. And that's when you put your mezuzah up on your door, that's what it's there. And it's representing those things too. It's representing that comfort, that safety, that pride, that connection, that support, that belonging. Okay, so now we get to have some hands-on. And if we were actually in person, we would be reflecting with lots of loose parts and found materials. And if you don't know what a loose part is anything that you can put together, take apart, reuse over and over and over again. It could be big, it could be small, it could be natural materials, it could be recycled materials. It pretty much can be anything. All right, so I asked everybody to bring some items from home and items from their community home and something for a backdrop. These are some of the items that I brought, that I put together. And they all represent a piece of me, a piece of who I am from when I was really young up until currently and what I'm doing now, both personally and professionally. They tell my story. They tell the story of who I am and my journey. When we explore these materials that you've brought, and if you didn't bring any materials, that's fine. You can look around, you could think about what those things might be that you would want. Think about your home and your offices or your classrooms, about the things that you may want to include in those. Think about how each item makes you feel when you hold it, you touch it, you smell it, whatever it is. Think about how each item reflects your connection to your communal home and your journey, your story. And I put throughout the last year and a half, but really your whole story, who you are and what made you who you are today. What you want to leave behind as you re-enter your communal home, and what you want to bring with you as you re-emerge into your communal home, and what you're excited about, and even what you might be scared about or uneasy about or wonder about. What might you wonder about? So what we're going to be doing next is using those materials to create our own interpretation of what a mezuzah might be to you. It's your interpretation. And so I want you to think about what that might look like. And as you're using those materials and you're putting them together, where they go and what they mean and what your whole story is. And then kind of think about some words of Breet and rededication, warmth, safety. These are the words that I came up with as I was reflecting on my materials: warmth, safety, family, memories, growth, acceptance, belonging, strength, gratitude. These are all things that have made me who I am today. It's part of my story. It's also the experiences that I feel when I walk into my communal home or into my home. These are things that I feel are very special to me and my story. So we're going to play some music. We're going to give it about 15 minutes. It actually looks like we have some time. So we're going to give it about 10 to 15 minutes. And I want you to explore those materials, create your interpretation of what a mezuzah is, and then we're going to share out afterwards. Let's see here. How did this make you feel? I saw that Isabel said, it brought you such joy. I remember when I was doing it, I was, for myself, it meant so much to me because I had that time to reflect. Curiosity, excitement, joyful, reflective. Oh, I love that. I love that. Anyone else want to share how this experience made you feel, what you thought about, what you're excited about, what you wonder about as you re-enter into your communal home? Making choices of what goes where. So wild. It's true. You're like, oh, wait, this can go here, this can go there. I tried to make connections. I found myself that I was putting all my home stuff in one area and all my communal home stuff in another area. And then I mixed things up because I was like, wait a minute, they're all kind of connected.
Mykenzie.
Yes.
I found that I was so drawn to the background part. The background had me just so fixated, and I had it where I had picked a certain background, and then I changed my mind when I was really moving with it. And then I found that I had this idea that I wanted something less static for the background, which is really hard for someone that's not very artistic. But I have this beautiful opportunity of having water flowing by, which is very much like me. That like I think about that all the time. So then it became more of an arrangement and not really a mezuzah. And I thought, does that, couldn't it still be, or isn't it? It's just so interesting when you're the one making the rules, how much you think about those things that will really anchor you, and those choices that you get to decide your own fate that way. So I thought it was just really, really a wonderful, what should be foundational or what should be the backdrop felt like a big question I spent an awful lot of time thinking about.
Sure. And that's all part of the process, really. Like when you're using loose parts like this, or you're using items that are meaningful to you, like how do you want them to stand out? How do you want them to represent who you are and what you're, and the story that you're trying to tell? Let's see, there's a couple more. Robin said how things have their own stories and memories. That is so true. That is so true. Rebecca says repurposing objects, making them say things in different and juxtaposing them with other objects. I love that. I love that. Anything else? Okay. Hi,
Mykenzie.
Yes.
What I have to say, as anyone knows me, there's space to type just isn't enough space. This whole thing started for me in the collection of the items. It didn't start right now. It was finding them. And just like Randy said, as she was building, she was crying, and I was too, because it wasn't so much what was here, because I know what's here, but what wasn't here, what was missing for me right now. And it's put something, so much clarity in my mind about a decision I have to make in my life. And this couldn't have come at a better time, and I didn't expect it. I didn't expect it. So thank you very much.
If I were there, I would be giving
my
you hugs and holding you.
Can you see my picture here? Oh, I have my background on a weird thing. I'll redo it in a minute. Thank you for this. I'll find a way to show you my picture.
Thank you so much for sharing that. And I want to just give you hugs. Okay.
I'll take them.
Does anybody else want to share? Randy says how the story is never complete. I love that this is a process. That is so true. Your story continues, right? This is not it. This is not the end of it. Your story continues, and you're going down different paths. And for me, like this came at a time also for me where I had something big to bring. I've been living a Jewish life almost my entire life, and I just converted like a week ago. And all these things, as I was going through them and I was collecting the materials, the same thing. It made me think about the story that I had and what made me who I am today and why I'm here with you. So it's a very reflective process. That's what loose parts can do for you, for sure. But also just being able, given that opportunity to be able to think about who you are, where you're going, and what parts of your community, of your home are there to support you and to hold you and to guide you, really.
Mykenzie, also, as I'm listening to you, I'm thinking about the fluidity of the process, but also the mezuzah we just built itself, and this notion of loose parts and moving.
Yes.
As opposed to sort of my understanding of mezuzah, which is, I moved into my New York City apartment. There was already a mezuzah on the door. It was part of someone else's story, not mine.
That's right.
It became my story because I moved in. But what we just did, this moment and this mezuzah, which I can share at some point if we want to do that, is my mezuzah on 11:15 at 2:48 p.m. And if at 3:15 my kid comes home and I invite him into the bedroom and I say, let's play with these objects, how would these look for you? Together, we will have another experience that is equally authentic and of its time. And I think that's what's so beautiful about what you've given us today, which is this idea of thinking about defining a moment and knowing that it's standing in that moment, and it represents everything in that moment, and that 2 weeks from now it may be different, but there are probably some key elements that are in the core of who you are that will always be part of your fundamental structure, right? Whatever that is for you.
Exactly.
Very beautiful.
Wonderful. Oh my goodness, I'm so excited to see all of these wonderful.
Should we show you?
Yes, I want to see everything.
I don't know if this is going to work, but I'm going to try to.
Oh, I love it.
I don't know if
you can kind of see it.
Kind of see it.
Kind of see it. Yeah, pull it back just a little. Oh, I love it. I love it. Anybody else want to share? I would love to see. And we'll also have an opportunity to send these pull it back just a little bit. Oh, wait, no. Okay. Oh my goodness, this is just amazing to be able to see all of these.
That's
great. Look at this one with all the pins and I love.
Gorgeous.
That is amazing. That is amazing. Well, I wanted to share this one last piece because I always like to start with oh, come on. My computer doesn't want me to share anything. Okay, I like to start with a quote and I like to end with a quote. So this is the quote that I found. Home is ultimately not about a place to live, but about the people with whom you are most fully alive. Home is about love, relationship, community, and belonging, and we are all searching for home. So that is all I have, but I'm inviting you to please send your photos of your mezuzot to jfest@jcca.org, as well as your stories of who you are and what you thought about and what this process was and what you are most excited about for re-entering your communal home. So thank you very much for joining me. I'm so excited that I was able to do this. I'm so happy that This was such a meaningful experience for so many of you. And thank you. I appreciate you all. Thank you.
Amazing, Mykenzie. Just amazing.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Isabel put into the chat that we have created a resource for you guys to use in your communities or with your families or anywhere you're thinking about sort of digging into the process and sharing it more broadly or reinventing it for yourself, which of course we hope you'll do, as we've heard about the intense creativity of this particular group. So we're looking forward to hearing stories about how that happens.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mykenzie. And before we head out, we just want to, again, this resource is available to you to replicate the experience that we just had in your communities. The email is embedded in the resource as well, so that anyone that you bring this to, whether it be your personal community, your JCC community, whatever that encompasses, you can share stories back, you can share images back of the mezuzahs that you create. And that's going to be a continuous project that we will be working on throughout the rest of the festival. And the reason we do this is because JFest seeks to amplify and connect the diverse stories that make up our vibrant Jewish communities. And we do this by providing multiple ways in for you and your JCC communities to engage through virtual J events that can be viewed live or asynchronously, and through these resource calls that provide you with local engagement tools that prompt deeper thinking about Jewish values, themes, and storytelling. So again, please use this resource. And I will also share once more the virtual J channel where all of the JFest events live, and you can access again live when they're launching and asynchronously. And we have some upcoming Hanukkah events in just a few short weeks that we would love for your communities to engage in. And the resource that we shared with you today can be used as part of engaging the themes of Hanukkah, the themes of Thanksgiving, the themes of just Jewish community coming together at the end of the year and going into whatever the future holds for us. So thank you so much for being here with us today. And please share the beautiful photos of the work that you created today, because we will be sharing them back with you all and with the larger JCC movement as part of JFest.
We're really grateful that you're part of our communal home, our extended Jewish communal family. And I know as time continues to change and we continue to re-enter the world in different ways, that you're going to make the choices that you need to professionally and personally to welcome your communities back. And so again, with gratitude for your amazing work, and with a special shout out, of course, to Mykenzie and the other Mykenzie and Kathy and Sarah, and of course, Isabel, and all of you for taking time out on Monday, and Jacob, our latest member. We're thrilled to have had you here, and I hope you have a beautiful week, everybody. Thanks for being part of this.